So, this was a very sadly devastating storm right here. This storm right here, and these storms that trailed behind it. Now, I was watching when this happened, and it was horrible. But, this is an analysis of the most recent, very, strong tornado that went through, Taylorstown, or Taylorsville, Tylertown, and Bassfield. Now, you'll notice it hasn't quite formed yet. It's formed a small hook. And then we go to the next frame, and that hook starts to elongate, which is usually a sign that the hook is about to start progressing more forwards and cause a very visible rotation. The next frame, it gets severe thunderstorm warned. That's what this means. And you can see it's starting to get a little bit messier. And then we go one frame further, and you see a very loose couplet near Kentwood. Now, after this frame, the tornado likely is about to touch down. This is the next frame. There's no hook yet visible. And the reason is because this is a heavily rain-wrapped cell. And you have the couplet here, but you also have CC. That is likely contamination. And then you move over, and the first tornado warning is issued of this massive and long-lived tornado. The tornado is likely on the ground just southwest of Kentwood, and its track sets it up for a very devastating reality. And now it really strengthens past Kentwood. You can see there is a velocity couplet. It's donut holding on reflectivity, and the NROT is 1.21. The CC dropped down to 66.2%, which usually indicates that something was hit. Now, it's still having a hook, but the hook has widened, and we can check our gate to gate at around 80 knots. It's now about to move into Mississippi, and it's now observed. In the next frame, there is a very visible hook, and there is a very visible rotation. In this frame, the warning boundary has been updated to a triangle because of the fighting offices. There is a hook, and it is developing its rotation even further. The hook is the most visible it has been, and most likely will be, when it is west of Tylertown. There is a very visible CD drop of 20.8%. It reaches this number multiple times throughout its life. And even though the tornado has just dropped down only a few miles ago, it is rapidly intensifying. We then get 2 new tornado warnings issued for the same storm. And a new storm fires basically right where the path was of the other storm. It still has a very low CC of around 50 on average, as it misses Tylertown to the north. There's a debris ball on radar, and it has reached 2.23 NROT. NROT is basically how much it is rotating, and this is used to see what speed. There is a very big couplet. All of these tornado warnings are PDS now, which means particularly dangerous situation. It has reached a 21.2% CC drop as it slightly weakens north of Tylertown. The most classic example of a hook echo you will find comes in this storm. It then continues on its east-northeasterly course as the polygon it is currently in gets updated to a tornado emergency north of Tylertown. The next polygon it will enter has also been added as a tornado emergency. It has a CC drop of 51 over open woods, and the velocity of this storm has a gate-to-gate of 77 knots, which goes above this scale. It continues moving and enters into the far southern reaches of Oakville, Mississippi. The hook is still very visible at this point. There is a very low CC drop of 47%. It continues moving and barely misses Oakville to the south. By this point, it is slightly weakening, but don't let that fool you. It still has a lot to do. Now, if we look to the southwest, there is a new tornado on the ground near Osaka, and this will hit Tylertown directly. So now we are looking at two different tornadoes. While this one is moving like this and will likely miss Bassfield to the north, the other one is going to hit Tylertown and eventually hit Bassfield directly. Now, this tornado takes a slight jolt towards Bassfield. This is actually the one that will hit it, but only to the north. The other one will miss it far to the north. If we look down at the other one, it now has a very obvious velocity signature. And there is a CC drop on the northern cell. In the next frame, it can be seen entering the far northwestern reaches of Bassfield, as this tornado warning is still not confirmed. In this frame, it is pictured as moving directly into Tylertown. And in the north, it has missed Bassfield pretty well. It is now downgraded to a PDS situation, while the southern one is upgraded to a PDS situation. This is tracking over the same area that the other tornado was going. Now Collins is getting threatened, but luckily both of these tornadoes will miss it to the north. There is a big time jump between the last scan and this scan, as there was trouble in the Birmingham radar. There is now a small couplet north of Bay Springs. This is when the north tornado completely cored the town of Taylorsville. At the same time this happened, a nearby seismograph recorded a 10-kilometer deep magnitude 3 earthquake. This caused loosening of the soil. Meanwhile, this tornado heads straight for Oakville, and in fact, it will hit it, while this one deviates to the north and weakens. However, there is a very visible eye on the storm. Bay Springs luckily escapes the grasp of this cell, while Oakville just barely gets missed to the north. And this is when both of these cells seemingly disintegrate, while a new rotation forms south of Collins and hits Seminary almost dead on. That is all for this tornado summary.